Sydney says it is open for business again. The city and the state of New South Wales will allow fully vaccinated travellers to enter without quarantine from next month. For now, only Australian citizens and residents will benefit. New South Wales is expected to reach an 80% double-dose vaccination rate tomorrow, ahead of the rest of Australia. Danielle Robertson has more.
From a travel limit of 5 kilometres to 7 continents, New South Wales is reopening to the rest of the world. As the state prepares to bring down its hard border, planes are gearing up to get back in the air, families are ready to reunite, and citizens can now leave the country and return home. This state is the first to welcome overseas passengers without home or hotel quarantine. Australian citizens and their family members, including parents, will take priority, followed by skilled migrants, international students and eventually tourists. This is a major policy shift. Since March last year, Australia has been known to have some of the toughest border controls in the world during the pandemic, even banning some of its citizens from leaving the country and requiring overseas passengers to undertake hotel quarantine for 14 days at their own expense. But from November 1, that will be scrapped for Australian citizens and their family members. They will only have to prove that they have been double-dosed with a vaccine that is approved in Australia and that they received a negative COVID test before their flight.
This is about Australian residents and citizens first. The Commonwealth Government has made no decision to allow other visa holders, skilled visa holders, student visa holders, international visitors travelling under an ETA or other international visiting visa arrangement, to come into Australia under these arrangements.
New South Wales is the only state in the country to introduce quarantine-free international travel, meaning some people here may be able to travel to places like Singapore and Bali before they can visit family and friends domestically in a different state. With this state being one of the most vaccinated jurisdictions in the world, it's really the first in Australia to step forward and live with COVID in this new normal. And there is pressure now for the rest of the country to follow suit. Now, the unvaccinated, though, will still have to follow some rules. They will have to undertake quarantine if they are arriving from overseas, and there will also be limits on the number of unvaccinated passengers that will be allowed to arrive in the country. Overall, this is great news, though, particularly for the 45,000 Australians that are stranded overseas, giving them some hope that they can now finally return home. And it's also good news for businesses that rely on international tourists to survive. Now, airlines have about 2 weeks to ramp up their flights and to get ready for a boom in the airline industry in this country, and regional travel is also going to resume in November. But until then, the state is expected to reach their target of 80% of the population fully vaccinated this weekend. And that means on Monday, caps will be lifted for weddings and funerals. 20 people will be able to visit at home and 50 will be allowed to gather outdoors. All of this in a bid to bolster the state's COVID recovery. And this new announcement, which has been labelled Welcome Home, aims to give Australians their life back for the first time in a year and a half. Danielle Robertson, CNA, Sydney.